How would you like to be able to look at a man and in an instant build connection, attraction, and rapport just using your eyes? Well, in this video, I'm going to walk you through different tips and strategies to build attraction using your eyes with high-quality men. Hi, I'm Jason Silver. I am the dating coach for ambitious women. And in this channel, Attract Great Guys, every single week I go through different videos on building attraction and building relationships and understanding high-quality men who are looking for a lifelong committed relationship. And if you would like to be notified every single week of my videos, just hit the red subscribe button beneath this video and the little notification bell so you get notified and don't miss any of my trainings. I think it's important to know how to use your eyes and what you can do to build a really strong connection with a man simply using your eyes. 70 to 80% of communication is nonverbal, and the eyes are really one of the most powerful ways to build that connection visually, which is, in terms of men are incredibly visual, so this is going to be important. Now, before I jump into these different strategies, just know that confidence is the foundational requirement for all of these strategies. When you look at someone, if you're not confident, your eyes are the first things that give away your lack of confidence, and you can't fake confidence using these different tips or strategies. So whatever you can do to build confidence, and one of the best ways that I know of how to do that is to focus on esteemable actions. The specific actions that are what I call the 80-20, the 20% of activities that are going to give you the 80% fulfillment and personal growth in your life. Whether it's your physical fitness, whether it's your friendships and relationships, whether it's your finances or career, focusing on massive, consistent action is going to give you a different emotion and confidence that nothing else can. So I just wanted to mention that because really confidence is the core to that eye connection attraction. So I'm not going to go too much into core confidence in this video, but I do need to mention that. Now let's jump right into the first strategy that you can use to build that powerful connected eye contact. The first thing that you're going to want to do is on occasion glance down to his lips, because it's in the looking at lips that we actually do that just before we kiss someone. We'll take a glance at what we're about to kiss. And so by looking at his lips, you're going to be indicating to him that you are interested in kissing him. And he might not realize it consciously, but just know many of these different tips are being communicated to a man subconsciously. So don't worry, this is really effective. Now, number two is, in addition to looking down at his lips, I want you to bite your lower lip at some point and see if it even happens naturally as you're looking at his lips and maybe even imagining kissing him, because we have an instinctual reaction. It's primitive inside of us that when we become aroused, we want to bite our lower lip. Yeah, it can be just a natural thing and it doesn't have to be where you're like grinding on it and literally taking bites out of your lips. That's not what I mean. It's like a very subtle, just pressure using your top teeth on your lower lip. And that may seem to you a bit forward, and it could be at times. But the truth is, if you're trying to build an intimate attraction with a man, subtlety doesn't always work. In fact, if you are even in the least bit perceptive, imagine that a man is maybe like 10% as perceptive as you are. You have to assume that he has absolutely no idea what you're thinking, and that no matter how hard he tries, he still can't figure out what you're thinking. This is one of the greatest mysteries in life to many men of what women are actually thinking. So if you're going to try to communicate non-verbally with a man, you might not want to be extremely subtle. And to you, what may feel like you're going completely over the top, I promise you, it is coming across as much more subtle to the man. Now, you'll have to gauge this on your own because everyone has different levels of subtlety and directness, so this is something that you can play with. Now, along with biting your lower lip, another thing that you can do is wet your lips, because when our lips are wet, it's another thing that we subconsciously do before we kiss someone to make sure that it's all not dried and chapped. And once again, for licking your lips, you don't want to make them so incredibly wet. You just want them a little moist. And what that does is it shows health and youthfulness, and that in and of itself is attractive, but just the act of wetting your lips, it something very, very simple that you're just moistening your lips. You don't have to go crazy with it, but it does the same thing. It lets him know that you're interested in kissing him, even if it's just subconscious. Now, the next tip is to look at just one of his eyes. Now, it can be confusing. Which eye do you look at? You don't want to look at both because there's really no way to focus on both eyes unless you relax your eyes, like you're looking at one of those magic 3D photos that you relax your eyes and all of a sudden you can see the painting pop out. That's not what you want to do because your eyes do all sorts of wonky things when you relax them. You want to just maintain a gentle, relaxed focus on one of his eyes. And if he has a lazy eye, then focus on the eye that is active and that can look at you. That's key. Another thing that you can do when you're making that eye contact, instead of looking straight forward, maybe turn your head just slightly. So you're maybe looking just to the left or the right of him. And what that does is it creates a less of an intense connection, and it almost allows him to feel like he can invite you in closer, right? It gives him some room to build more intimacy rather than being full-blown, I'm facing you, and it can be intimidating, especially if you have a powerful presence. So even just shifting your body just a little slightly to the left or the right, even if it's counterintuitive, you're not as open, it actually may make you seem more approachable. If you feel like you've been making eye contact for a long time and you feel uncomfortable, another quick tip is just to look away briefly and then reset yourself by looking back. So if you just look down for a minute and then look back, the act of doing that, it removes a bit of that awkward feeling and it resets the connection. It's just really helpful if you feel like your face is frozen or you feel anxious about how you look or anything like that. It's just very easy to get those thoughts out of your mind by just, looking away and then resetting. It's a very common, normal thing to do in a conversation, but when we're so focused on eye contact, we can forget to do those natural things. Now, the next thing that you can do, and even if this is uncomfortable, it really works, it's powerful. Imagine yourself kissing him. I mentioned it a little bit before, but when you're looking down at his lips, if you can actually visualize yourself moving forward and embracing him and kissing him, what it does is you will, like it or not, exude a more sensual energy because you're thinking about it. And what we think about does reflect in our energy, which reflects in our body language, and we do communicate that. I remember, and I don't fully understand how this worked, but I remember when I was in college, there was a woman I really, really liked. And I remember just interacting with her, and then my friend Phil came over, and Phil was just an Italian guy who knew how to connect with women. And I remember he walked up to her, and he sat down, and he just looked at her, and he smiled. And I remember she looked at him, and she just gave him a hug and kissed him on his cheek. And I mean, they knew each other, they were friends, but I remember thinking to myself, what did he just do? What was that magic? And looking back, all he probably did was walk up with a loving energy, and he probably looked at her with, adoration or some kind of a sensual vibe, and he didn't say anything. He just maintained eye contact, and she felt it and embraced it and hugged him. And it really showed me, number one, I had no idea what I was doing, and I had so much to learn about the male and female interactions. And number two, it's possible to connect without using any words. It's not only possible, it's powerful. And so, that's something that you can use and practice, even if it's uncomfortable. And actually, that's something that I really, really need to mention. If you feel uncomfortable or awkward, especially if it's like a strong physical feeling of awkwardness, that is a good thing. If you're not used to building this kind of intimate connection and you start taking these actions and feeling awkward and really having a strong desire to run away from the interaction, that probably means that whatever you're doing is working and you're building a connection and you're not used to that feeling. And the more that you can practice this and create that uncomfortable feeling in yourself, the more that you can desensitize yourself and actually get used to it and start to engage in it more and play with it. And it feels so great when you get to a point where you can build an intimate connection with someone without feeling awkward and start to enjoy that experience. And that is my hope for you. Because let me tell you, nothing feels better in the world than when you can approach someone and build a connection with them and not have fear of rejection or fear of being humiliated because you love yourself and you accept yourself. In fact, many men who are learning the art of social skills will say, it's kind of like this mantra in the pickup artist community, or even just the self-help for men community, that the first 1,000 approaches doesn't count. And you may think that, oh, this desensitizes men and dehumanizes women. And I think with the goal or purpose of saying that the first 1,000 approaches doesn't count, it's letting you know that it's okay, that if you're rejected time and time again, because what you're doing is you're building your social skills, you're meeting people, you're not doing anything to harm someone, and there's more opportunities out there for you. And if you have that abundant mindset and that willingness to be humble and to practice, I promise you, you are going to experience an incredible transformation, because learning how to connect with men using your eyes is one of the best ways to not just build confidence and feel great and feel sexy, but also to meet more men and connect with the men that you're meeting. So I'm going to give you a quick little assignment. Feel free to try this out at home. I think I mentioned this once or twice before, but if you're out in public and you're walking down the street or down a grocery aisle or down a hallway in an office building, and you see a man approaching you, about 20, 30 feet away, start making eye contact. Focus on making eye contact with that one eye. And as you keep walking, one of two things are going to happen. One, he's going to ignore you and keep walking by. Fine. Give yourself a pat on the back for looking. The second thing he can do is he can glance up and look and see that you're looking at him. It's at that point that we all have the desire to look away because we got caught. I don't want you to look away. Instead, I want you to maintain that eye contact. And as you're maintaining that eye contact, don't say anything, don't smile. And he might not say anything and he might not smile. And if that's the case, if he doesn't say anything, if he doesn't smile, if he doesn't acknowledge you, just keep maintaining that eye contact until you pass him. And consider if you keep staring at him and he keeps staring at you, you both have quite the confidence, okay, to be looking at each other that long. But if he does smile, at that point you can smile back. If he says something to you, if he says hello, you can say hello back, but he has to say it first. And the reason for that, especially right now when you're practicing, is to allow yourself to build up confidence in yourself and to desensitize yourself from that that uncomfortable feeling. The more you can desensitize yourself to that, the more fun that you can have with eye contact. So try that out. And again, just walking down a street, or begin making that eye contact. Wait, don't say anything, don't smile, just keep a relaxed, gentle face. And if he engages you, then you can engage him. If you do this enough times and you feel confident and you don't feel weird about it, then you can level up. And instead of just keeping a relaxed face, you can maybe smile first. Maybe you can say hello. Maybe you can even compliment him. There's all sorts of fun stuff you can do once you have desensitized yourself and learned these eye contact attraction strategies. I hope that you found this helpful, and I would love to hear from you in the comments section. Do you know any other ways to build connection through eye contact? Or if you tried this exercise, tell me your experiences. I'd love to hear it. This is one of my favorite things to talk about because it has immediate impact and results, and it's fun. It's a fun thing to do and to see how it works. So I encourage you to do that. If you found value in this video, please hit the thumbs up button. It allows it to be seen by more people, which means you get more suggestions in the comment section. Thank you so much again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Be well.